we can see that it's basically a simple up and down motion. Now what if we added to this up and down motion just the aspect of continuation, the aspect of continuance, or the aspect of time? Then we would find that that upward and downward motion over time spreads out into a wave form. So what a wave is nothing more than this simple up and down motion, which is nothing more than the cyclic coming and going, back and forth motion of the fluctuation of intelligence, of consciousness. And we see that in EEG. If one area of the brain is working at a certain rate, it has a certain style of functioning. At slow speeds, it's called alpha, between 8 and 12 times in 1 second. The waves go up and down in 1 second period, about 8 to 12 times a second. If other cells are going faster, they go up and down between 12 and 25 times in 1 second, and we call those beta. And a third area, for today's consideration, if they go up and down very fast, faster than 25 times in a second. So if you had a second and it goes 25 times going up and down, that would be a gamma. So we have alpha, beta, and gamma. Slow, medium, and very fast frequencies or rhythms or oscillations or motions of that circular back and forth motion. And here's an example of what happens during meditation. On the bottom is this shift from object referral to self-referral, a shift from the surface levels of fragmented awareness to the deep, deep levels of self-referral experience of Atma. And you can see on the bottom that the large waves on the left-hand side collapse into very small, small impulses of fluctuation. This is a measurement of the gamma, or object referral structure of the EEG. Now, if we look at the same time as looking at gamma, we look at the alpha, which relates to self, we find this. So on the top, we have alpha waves being examined. At the bottom, we have the gamma waves being examined. The top is more self-referral activity. The bottom is more object referral activity. And you can see in the middle of this screen, something profound changes. There is a flip-flop, or a shift, from very little alpha to a tremendous amount of alphas at the exact same time that there's a shift from very much gamma to just a little bit of gamma. And this shift is at the onset of the practice of transcending. This is the beginning of that experience from the gift of Gurudev, when we shift from the outside fragmented world to that deep unified structure of self-referral consciousness. That is a remarkable thing, and we're going to see that right now and understand it in terms of these frequencies. So if we come back to the screen here, please. Come back to me. Thank you. We're going to now go back to our Nexus machine, and we're going to see that indeed there's quite a tremendous change in how all this activity takes place. And let's get this set here. Okay. So if we come back to the screen, please. You can see how flexible this machine is. With just a few touches of the button, I can go from different kinds of displays. Here's a display we're going to describe in detail in just a moment. But notice that there's all these red peaks, all these red and yellow peaks across from left to right. Now time goes from the back of the screen to the front of the screen, which I'm going to play for you in just a moment here. And from the left and right are different frequencies. So let's just play this for a moment here. This person has their eyes closed, and you can see there's all these peaks from left to right across the entire screen. And remember, time is going from the back towards the front. In just a moment, the person will begin the practice of transcendental meditation, and you'll see a change. Notice how things became simplified. Now, in that simplification, notice the following changes. See what happens there? Look at that remarkable change. On the left-hand side, all the energy in the brain, all the attention, you could say, all the fluctuation of electrical phenomena are all centered on this very low rhythm. You can see the mountain peak to the far left. This is exactly what goes on during the Transcendental Meditation program, and we're going to describe that in the next set of slides we have here. Let me come to that. Okay, so here we are. Let me come back to our screen, please. So we have this screen we just showed you. The past is in the back, and then the front is the most recent. So time goes from the back to the front. And I've outlined from left to right 3 boxes. The left box, the middle box, and the right box. The arrow indicates the flow of time from the back to the front. And you can see that there are 3 zones here. These 3 zones are significant. They're either slow, medium, or fast frequencies. Very slow oscillations, medium oscillations, or fast oscillations. And these oscillations refer to different things. We usually think in modern science, based on research, that the fast rhythms have to do with the construction of an object. That the middle reasons have to do with more the perceptual apparatus and integration of the sensory phenomena, and that the slow frequencies have to do more with a sense of ego or I or self. And so you can see that across the screen from left to right, these 3, in general, frequencies are thought to represent the fundamentals of human experience. I see the flower, slow, medium, and fast. And any change we can see in this graphic display of brain activity between slow, medium, and fast would indicate very clearly a change in the relationship between the rishi, I, the devatas, si, and the chandas value of flower. So in the next one, I'm going to then describe to you an actual experiment and show how rishi, devata, and chandas, or the structure of experience, changes during the practice of transcendental meditation. So here again is a period of time with the eyes closed. The person is thinking about all different things, and there's a basic sort of a general distribution of slow, medium, and fast. I see the flower. The person is thinking about something with their eyes closed. So we have the rishi, devata, and chandas value. And of course, time is in the back coming forward towards us. And notice there are peaks throughout the entire time range and across the entire left and right frequency domains. Now what happens if we have TM? A moment later, this would be the screen we'd get. Notice that all the activity now is centered on this simple unified structure of Atma. Alpha wave activity here at about 8 cycles per second on the left-hand side of the screen. And if we place those same boxes again, you can see where all the activity has shifted. There's almost none in the far right. There's just only a little bit in the middle, and everything is on the left-hand side because the individual has settled down to rest in Atma, in silence. And so everything is shifted. The whole structure of rishi, devata, and chandas is shifted to primarily that value of rishi. Remarkable change. And so if we show that in the same slide, if we go from eyes closed to the practice of TM, we can see a shift by the looping of the frequencies. The very fast looping frequencies basically dissipate. The middle frequencies also dissipate. And we're left with just that simple unified frequency or back and forth motion of consciousness experienced as self and seen in the EEG as brainwave coherence. And so what I'd like to do is go back then to show us another indication of this in the EEG. And for that, I need to go back here and describe through this. And here we have, okay. So if we go back to our screen then, the frequencies are at the top there on the left and right hand side. The 2 middle screens are the EEG on the left and right hand side, and the bottom is the coherence. The individual has their eyes closed during this period of time, and you can see that there seems to be a lot of coherence going on right now because the person reported that they actually slipped into the transcendent while they had their eyes closed. Now they're given the instructions to begin to meditate, and they were adjusting themselves in the chair and getting ready to meditate. And then at 1:08, you can see very large frequencies of amplitude of alpha and the huge stability of the actual EEG activity. Very, very beautiful, continuous, stable functioning of the EEG, and very large amplitude alpha. So we can see in the middle 2 traces, local coherence because of the high amplitude of the alpha in the front, left, and right. And we see a very simple but graphic and remarkable example of global coherence at the bottom, where upon beginning the practice of transcendental meditation, the entire brain becomes highly orderly and synchronous. So in our last section, I'd like to describe for you the nature of brainwave coherence in terms of alpha. This is a very lovely idea here, that we can, looking at alpha waves, we can go back now to our screens, we can have something of a very close correlation with wakefulness, alertness, consciousness itself. That if you look at the last 50 years of EEG research, alpha waves are becoming more and more a symbol or an example or a measure of inner alertness, inner wakefulness, that inner self-referral value. Here is an example of alpha waves in an individual practicing transcendental meditation. These are fluctuations of brain activity. These are electrical waves. And you notice they sort of have a spindle shape. They're smaller, then they get larger and smaller and larger, sort of waxing and waning, not unlike the changes of the moon over a month's cycle. The changing